Alright guys, Thursday night, Tush coming at you. It's about 9 p.m. We figured we'd come out and do a little quick power hour. It's supposed to be pretty darn cold out here tonight. It's going down to a low overnight of -7. I think it's -15 with the wind chill. That's of course Celsius. So it's going to be by far the coldest night of the year so far. I did come out and do a little winterizing in the garage. I put some rods at the top of the garage to keep the doors in tight against the wood facing, so there's not so much of a draft coming through the top of the doors. I haven't got my insulation in yet, so that'll probably do on the weekend. But I'm a little bit like was the cricket and the ant. I'm a little late on my prepping for winter. Anyway, back to the sill. We are in the process of taking the fenders off and taking the door off in order to move the sill. And I was taking some measurements and I found that I need about 1/4 of an inch to the rear of the car. And as it turns out, there's a little welded plate in here where the B-post is. And if I take my ruler and measure from the end of the inner sill to the plate on the B-post, that's just about 1/4 of an inch. So I think that's what I'm going to use as my stop, is that plate, to be able to move the sill to the rear by 1/4 of an inch. That will make this gap line up a little bit better here at the rear, and it should give me a little bit more play in the front to get the front fender attaching a little bit better. So anyway, that's what we're up to tonight. We're not going to do anything too strenuous out here. So we'll just, like I said, take the fenders off, take the doors off, probably remove the sill, and then probably call it a night and get back out here tomorrow night and over the weekend to finish that up. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Alright guys, mission accomplished for this evening. We're sort of going backwards, but the sill's back off again. I did just sort of fit it back up there and did move it back to where I think it needs to be now, and it looks like it's going to fit fine in that location. So we will work over the next few days to get that back in the right position and hopefully finally get it welded up, spot welded up. So anyway, that's it for tonight, guys. We'll get back out here, like I said, tomorrow or Saturday. Hopefully tomorrow, if it's not too cold out here. We'll be back at it. Alright, have a good night, guys. Well, good morning, guys. Tush coming at you. It's Friday morning, November the 10th, and we're in the dark and cozy, or cozier confines of the Taj Mahal. It is 4 degrees Celsius in the garage, and we've got a bit of a rude awakening this morning. Winter's here. Quite a bit of snow overnight. A lot more than they anticipated. I think we were supposed to get 5 centimeters. I think that's more than 5 centimeters. Quite deep, actually. Well, they got the cars warming up to get them de-iced and brushed off. So it's about -11 degrees Celsius out. I think around -15 or 16 with the wind chill. So that changes things up a little bit. Could actually do with a bit of a shovel out here. Anyway, it is what it is. Winter is here. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. Alright, have a good day, guys. Hey, good morning, guys. Tush coming at you. Saturday, November 11th, and we're just after 9 a.m. Definitely cold out in the garage this morning. I've basically come out to turn the heat on so I can get out here a little bit later after breakfast. It is just hovering just above 0 degrees Celsius, so getting pretty chilly out in the garage. I'm getting a little bit concerned about my paint out here freezing, so we're definitely going to have to start running the heater at nighttime, just on low on the thermostat. So we're going to get the little guy plugged in. We've got it out here at least, sitting here on the floor. There she is, my loyal heater that served me well for the past 3 years. It's expensive to run, but it sure keeps it comfortable out here. So anyway, we'll get that plugged in and running, and we'll get a bit more heat in this garage so we can get out here a little bit later this morning. Alright guys, just after 11 a.m. and we've got her warmed up just to about 10 degrees Celsius, so comfortable to work in the garage now. We did stick a little insulation around the sides of the garage doors just to stop some of the breezes coming through. So it's a little more comfortable in here to work. Anyway, back on the sill today. So we're going to play around with fitting this again and see if we can get the fenders to fit a little bit better before we go ahead and spot weld it in. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and fit that up, and we'll tack it into place with some tech screws, and we'll do some trowel fitting. Alright guys, I've been playing around with the fenders for a few hours. It's now 1:05, but I think I've got the fenders fitting pretty darn good now. I'm actually quite happy with the fit and the gap of the sill right there. And if I look at the back, I'm quite happy with the fit and the gap there. It's very equal front to back. Now the only thing I haven't done yet is I haven't fit the door, so that'll be the next step in the process. But at least I've got the fenders fitting where I want them to fit. I've actually got them bolted on the bottoms as well. That's fully bolted down there, and I've got a few bolts in the top, so that seems to be fitting really well. So it's just a matter of whether the door will fit or not. And again, that's going to be a bit of a challenge to get that stupid door on by myself. So anyway, I'm just going to sit back and relax for a little bit and enjoy the fruits of my labor here while I look at my sills. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that fit. Didn't believe that I could actually get it that good, but anyway, we'll see how the door fits. Hopefully my my good mood will not be dashed by the fitment of the doors. Alright, back out in the garage after a couple of bowls of baked potato soup. Always better the second day. Anyway, we're going to now take the fender back off. This is, I don't know, lost count of how many times I've had the fender on and off, and I'm sure I'll have it on and off countless more times. And we're going to take that fender off, and we're going to try to fit the door again by ourselves. So I'm not looking forward to that, but something's got to be done, so we're going to go ahead. Alright guys, just coming up to 4 o'clock, and the door is now back on, and the fenders have been refitted. And you know what? It's not too bad. Gaps could be a little bit better, but actually they're pretty consistent. They're a little wide, and you know, I've seen better gaps, but 50-year-old car, and it's been through a lot of abuse. So considering all that, I think that's not too bad. I may be able to fix this thin gap up here when I actually shim the body on the frame. I might be able to widen that top gap a little bit, but for the most part the gap's pretty consistent. The door and fender lines line up. The sills are much better than they were. I can live with that. Look good on the back. And like I said, I'm happy with the door alignment. It's pretty close to the sill cutout, and the door alignment in the back is just a little bit further than the sill cutout, but not bad. So I'm happy with that, I think. So I'd say that we can go ahead and weld that sill on now pretty comfortably. So I think that's what our next step will be, is we'll break out the spot welder and we will weld that inner sill, or the outer sill, in place. Took a while to get there, but we're there. Alright, finally getting around to installing the new tips that I bought from my spot welder a couple months ago. So obviously the old ones were a little bit more worse for wear, so I'm happy to have the new tips here ready to go. So we'll install those, and we'll get ready to weld in the sill. Alright guys, Touch coming back at you. Sunday, November the 12th, just about 11 a.m. And I'm sad to report that old Spotty let me down last night. Unfortunately, my new tips are not working out so well. They're coming out of the tongs. So I think my tips are either too small or my tongs are stripped. Anyway, it's causing me a problem. I was getting a lot of burn through on my spots last night, so I'm going to have to resort to doing it old school and just doing some plug welds with the MIG welder. Now the problem is I need to go and drill holes now along both the upper and lower flanges to be able to do that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of methodically move along, remove one of the tech screws, stick in a little paint scraper behind it, drill the hole, and then fill it with the MIG welder. So that's the plan. I'll use a paint scraper or something similar. I've got another Got a Bondo type spreader over here I can use as a backer as well, just so I don't drill through both sides. That'll tell me when to stop. So that's what I'm going to do, drill a bunch of holes. Obviously it's preferable to have punched these holes out. I have a hole punch. It would have been nice to have had these off the car and you know, had all the holes punched prior to doing this, but again, I was planning on using the spot welder. I do not want to take these off the car because I've got them in a perfect location and I'm afraid that I won't get them back in the exact location that they are now, so I'd rather do it on the car. So it'll be a little longer, a little more arduous task, but we're going to do it. So may as well get started. Alright guys, so we have all our holes drilled along the flange, and for those of the ones that we have through holes, I've got a copper backing plate to put behind to do the plug weld on that one, so we'll be utilizing that. We'll just clamp that in place before we go ahead and do the plug weld. We'll keep in the tech screws until we're done the welding, then we'll remove those and then we'll plug weld those as well. Alright guys, the top side of the sill is welded in. As you can see here, I've actually put a little bit of weld on the seam as well, just in case. I don't want to be the guy who'd have to take this apart and restore this 50 years from now. Anyway, so it's all done on the top side except for the grinding. So now the hard part, underside, laying on your back and welding upwards. Alright guys, the sill is now welded in on the top flange and the bottom flange fully. Plug welded all the way along. We do have a little bit more welding to do at the rear of the sill, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So I think the next thing I want to do now is I want to get the grinder out and I'm going to dress all those welds down, and then we're going to put the caps on the end of the A post and the end of the B post that I've made previously. They're just sitting there inside the car. So we'll fit those to the sill, and then we'll move on to the next task, whatever that is. Alright guys, most of the grinding's been done along the top flange, and I figured I'd stop now and just go ahead and start working on the A post. I made this piece some time ago, and we're just going to zinc prime the back of it, and we're going to drill a couple of areas for some plug welds. Think along here, maybe a couple even along here, and then we are going to weld it in solid. That should give that A post a lot more structure. Alright guys, just coming up to 5 o'clock, and it's Sunday, so I either have to run out of welding gas or run out of wire. So true to form, I run out of wire, and I was hoping to get this piece of the A post done. I'm almost done. A few more plug welds and a weld across here and a few more welds along the bottom, and that would have been done, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. Anyway, I haven't started the B post yet. So that repair patch has got to go in there, something like that. We're going to drill some holes for plug welds along the sill as well. So anyway, we'll get to that today. I'll have to wait for another day, but as you can see, I've ground down all my welds along the top of the sill, and we've ground them all down along the bottom of the sill. So that was a lot of fun. Anyway, so looking better. We're going in the right direction, that's for sure. So anyway, we'll replace our MIG wire, and we'll probably get another bottle of gas while we're there, because I think we're running pretty low on gas as well. So anyway, it's Sunday night, so got to go in and do some chores and get ready for work tomorrow. So that'll be it for tonight. We'll upload this, and we'll get back out here tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.